browser. So that's why it goes there. So now it allows me because I've closed that account. Closed that browser.
Mm.
So I'm just setting it up and I will be ready. I'd rather record here. Browser? Yeah. So that's why it goes there. So now it allows me because I've closed that account. Closed that browser. So how do I? So I'm just setting it up and I will be ready. All right. So Ping, how
Hello,
are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good in this Tuesday, November the 4th. Oh, sorry, today's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, November the 4th. Wow, time flies, isn't it? Yeah. So Ping, we've talked often and but I don't really know your story. How you become to be the Ping that you are now. I hear snippets of it, but I'm kind of like interested because you've lived abroad. You're from Medan, and then I didn't even know why you lived in those different countries, and then now you're here. So you want to tell me a little bit about that? About who you
Sure.
are? Tell me a little bit about your family.
So for me, my family, I'm the third son of four boys. So my parents, especially my mom, has been busy since young, and our age are very close. So the gap between number one and number two is 1 year old. Number two to number three is 3, and number three to number four is 1. So
Mm.
we are all very close our age, which is why back in the days when I'm still young, it's quite competitive. We were fighting for toys, we were fighting for video games, we were fighting for even four of us we sleep in one room back in the days. So you wouldn't imagine back in the days when my brothers wanted to perhaps call a girlfriend or chasing a girl, and there's only one phone in the room and then there are four boys. You wouldn't imagine how that was like. A lot of fighting, a lot of disagreements, and that's how we became close until now. The four of us were very close, even though back in the days we were fighting a lot. So that's how my parents raised us. So basically, purposely one toy, purposely one TV, and one phone in the room, so that if you finish your homework first, you get to use that. You have the privilege to use that. So that
Wow.
is how we're raised since we're young. Even when we eat, when we eat in the same room, right, in the same house. Six of us, my four boys and my parents, six of us. If you shower late, you don't get food probably because there are five boys. Four boys and my dad, five boys and one uh, queen. So you won't get enough food if sleep. Sorry, if you shower later, if you before dinner. So that is how we're raised. And yeah, so my family and my brothers will all study abroad. Lucky for us, because my dad worked really really hard to
Mhm.
enable all of us to study abroad. So it started with my eldest brother moving to Penang,
Mhm.
due to the civil unrest in Indonesia back in 1998. And then for me and my second brother, we moved in year 1999. Towards the end of 1999,
Mhm.
we moved to Singapore, and then my youngest brother stayed at Medan to take care of my parents, at the same time accompanying them until my eldest brother graduated. He, because of the age, it's very close. So the moment my eldest brother graduated, he moved back to home country, to Medan, and that's when my youngest brother moved to the US with me.
Mm.
So it's all planned out. I guess my dad has planned everything out. So there's always one person in Medan.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So my second brother, after he finished his secondary school in Singapore, he moved to Australia with my eldest brother.
Mm. So
So
two
me, I
brothers in America, Two brothers in Australia.
Yes.
And your
So
parents?
my parents in Medan, both of them. Yeah. So when I moved to when I'm done with my school, my youngest brother he's done with SMA 2. So he
Mm-hmm.
didn't finish the SMA education in Indonesia, and then he moved with me to the US
Mm-hmm.
together. Yeah. So that is how we are, and I've been living abroad all my life. 4 years in 5 years in Singapore, and
Mm-hmm.
then 4 years in Shanghai. Sorry, 4 years in US, California, and then another 4 years in Shanghai, 4 years to 5 years in Shanghai, and then 2 years in Singapore again for work, and then back to Medan for 2.5 years, and then now I'm in Bali, and that's where I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Quite nomadic.
Yes. Nomadic.
You stayed quite a long time in each place. How did that um, form you? How
The
does this traveling and living abroad and constantly adjusting to something new? How does that make you unique? I would say because
it
I've been other
it
people.
makes that is a good question. It makes me how it makes me unique. It's I have people would say I have good international perspective because I've lived in the West and I've lived in the East, so I kind of know, right, okay, this is how the Western civilizations or the Western people or the culture think as opposed to the East. But then again, I said that is not really correct as well because I was a really, really shy, introverted kid, um, and very socially awkward since young. And I was, because of my name, I was bullied a lot in school. My name is
Why?
it's a,
Tell me why.
because my name is, I have two Ping, so Ping Ping. So the name is like a girl's name back in Medan.
Oh, I
So
see.
yeah, so I got bullied a lot because of my name. And I was born when I was in Singapore, I was short and I was fat.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I grew up late because my voice didn't break until I was about finished from school, from secondary school, basically.
Hmm.
So yes, so even um, I think I was 163 centimeter. My weight was 85.
Okay.
Along those lines. 2 months later, when I go back to Singapore to get my certificate of graduation from secondary school, my height was 173. I gained 10 centimeters in 2 months. So I grew up late, basically.
Yeah, late
And
blue.
yeah, late bloomer, really, really late bloomer. So I was, because of that, I had this self-esteem really low.
Yeah.
And when I want to study to the US, I learned the most from watching TV shows.
Hmm.
And the
You
TV shows
learn
that,
English. You
yes,
learn.
learning English and learning the US culture. And
Mm,
I think the best way is in back in the days, that's what I thought is by watching TV shows of the US culture. And of all the shows that I watched, I really love Friends.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get.
Friends.
Mm.
And of that six characters, I picked up Chandler,
Yeah.
which is sarcastic, which is humorous, and um, don't care what he said, and he just said it just like that. And I become very, since young, I have this knack with words. Because of that, I become a bit witty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And sometimes it's sarcastic to the point where it can throw people off a little bit. But yeah, that's how I cope with it's like a defense mechanism kind of thing.
Yes. Yes. I can
Yes.
understand very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I went to the US, I stick to all my Indonesian friends only
Mm.
for first 2 years when I was in college.
Hmm.
And then when I moved to university, when I got transferred, there are only, I think, 12 or 13 Indonesians. And I moved to a major that is new. That major is a brand new major. It's called Information Systems, Operations and Management Information Systems, because the internet is just about to take off.
Mm,
back then. The tech world is just about to take off, and that is a new major. So I joined that major. I'm the only Indonesian,
mm-hmm.
and when we graduated, there's only 9 of us graduated.
Wow. What is the major called again?
Operations and Management Information Systems.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
a very, very new major. And when I started taking that major, there was about 30 something of us. But there's this one course where it's like kind of like a funnel,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So if you are serious, then
Natural.
you will stay down. If you are not serious, then you will move to other major.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Tell
that
me,
is the course that
before you continue, I'm curious, what made you choose that unique major that nobody, knew completely?
right. Because number one, I'm in Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
The school is just about, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 miles away from the HP headquarter,
Mm.
Hewlett Packard headquarter, right? And my college is called the Enza College. It is directly in front of the Apple Center, the Apple where Steve Jobs worked at before they moved to the spaceship. So the old Apple Center. I used to see that every single day, and the internet was about to take off, and I see a big potential. So I was like, okay, might as well just try, and then see how it is, right? Plus, when I was young, again, when I was in college, I didn't really hang out a lot with people because I'm a little bit reserved, a little bit shy, and I only hang out with Indonesians. Usually, if you are Indonesians, you can speak like it's okay, right? But when you speak with someone that are of different country, different language, different culture, you feel a little bit of you took a step back, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
and and that's what happened to me. It was when I was in university that there's no Indonesian, and I have to step out of my comfort zone and meet people. That's when I had the most, I would say, I learned the most in that 2 years than the entire life
Mm.
prior combined.
Because you got out of your comfort zone.
Yes, and I start to meet
Forced.
people, and I learn different cultures. I start to like embrace my uniqueness, because back in the days I'm so afraid of my accent. When I speak, of course I have an accent, and people was like, in my mind I was like, okay, if you have an accent, it shows that you are not good with your language. You need to take care of your accent, and then don't let people know that you are non-native, things like that. When I start to hang out with people from different countries, they all have their own accents. I
Mm-hmm.
have a friend in Azerbaijan,
Mm.
from Azerbaijan, and he spoke with a little bit slightly Arabic accent, and I find it cool, right? And I was like, huh, if I think he is cool, there might be some other people who think I'm cool with the way I speak.
Good thinking. Yeah.
Good, yeah, right. And after that, then that's when I was like, okay, I don't care. I just say whatever.
Because you're fluent in the language. Is that the accent is what held you back?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also I'm too
Mm.
like, okay, I cannot say the bad grammar. If I said bad grammar, people will think I'm dumb. People will think I'm stupid. People will think I'm not well, not good at communicating, things like that. And it held me back. Because of that, I don't want to say anything much during discussions.
Afraid of making mistakes or.
Yes.
Mm.
Since then, I started to notice that if I don't say stuff, then I wouldn't stand out.
Mhm.
If I don't make mistakes, then I wouldn't know I'm making mistakes.
Okay.
That's when I started to change the way I think, and I started to, I don't want to say I don't care, but when I just started to open my mouth and start talking.
Wow,
And I
that
couldn't stop talking since.
yes. I mean, hearing you, I wouldn't have imagined that you had all that problem.
Yeah. Oops. Yep.
That was quite a transformation,
Mm.
right? Yes. So yeah, I'm also interested in a way that you had this thinking, oh, like if they okay, then should be okay. So and having that thought and then making a choice to follow through. Because
Mm,
sometimes it's like, oh yeah, well, kind of, like, and then people just stop and not moving forward. But
right.
then there's something in you that make you uh, push yourself or stretch yourself going out of your comfort zone, even though it was not comfortable. I bet it was not comfortable at first, but you
Yeah.
did it anyway. Yeah. What would that be? I mean, you mentioned something about if I don't speak up, I'm not going to stand out. So does that mean that you had wanted to stand out, or that it was important for you to stand out? What was the thinking behind that?
So during group discussions, there were times where I have some ideas
Mm-hmm.
that I think can either help the group towards a consensus or help the group towards making a better decision or have a better outcome. But because of all these negativities from myself, I started to maybe I shouldn't say anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also because I was like, okay, if I say stuff and then if people were to challenge me or something, and right, I rather not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I am a little bit awkward, socially awkward as well. Sometimes when I say stuff, I might not say eloquently, I would say, back in the days, at least. So that is,
So you're afraid that something might just come out of your mouth and it was like inappropriate or a faux pas or something like that.
yes, or not intended, or that's not what I meant, but people thought it the other way or something, something
Mhm.
like that. That's what I
Yeah,
thought
to
back
put.
then. Yeah. Mm,
Mhm.
mm,
Yeah. Okay. So that's quite a challenge, right? I mean, I didn't know that you had such a difficulty growing up in that way. Like I
mm.
think, but it's not uncommon. There are a lot more people, and I'm just thinking about all those people who had gone through what you had gone through, the being bullied and having, like something like a wrong name or something which is not really your fault, right? I mean, that's kind of like hard to deal with,
Yeah.
right? It's like there must be some anger. It's like why was I named like this, or things like that. Yeah.
I did, I still believe until now physical bullying is not as it's not as damaging as mental bullying,
Yeah.
because physical bullying it heals, but
Mhm.
mental bullying it sticks with you for a long time, to the point where I hated my name back then, that I changed some of my names. um, of course after a while I was like, there's no purpose for that, right? Even for example, like ordering a drink in Starbucks, I still remember this story. I told everybody about this story. Ordering a drink at Starbucks, people will call your name, right? So someone asks, so what is your name? I will never say Ping.
Uh-huh.
There was a time I would say my name is Brian. I don't know why I call myself Brian, but I just call myself Brian. What's your name? I like Brian. And then after a while, people are like, hey Brian, a tall latte for Brian. And then I was like, I'm still talking to my friend, and my friend's like, hey, the person is just calling you. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, I'm Brian.
Yeah, you make life even more difficult.
Exactly.
Trying
And
to
then
hide that, and then
yeah,
new
after a
strategy.
while, I was like, let's not do that. I mean, why bother? I mean, it's my name and my certificates, my birth certificate or my ID card, everything has my name on it. Like, and just embrace it, right?
Yeah.
So I start to reframe myself whenever I tell people, what is your name? I'll just say like, oh, my name is Ping. I haven't have it made. It's like this color, the pink color, but with a G. And then I had this exact reaction. Everybody had the exact reaction as what you did. They laugh. Ha ha ha! Oh, that's funny. You're a funny guy. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'll say, then they will say, why your parents give you two pinks? And I was like, yeah, they're trying to be creative, but they failed miserably. That's what I just said.
So in your birth certificate, you actually have two Pings.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What a story. Just find your name and then a burden it had been.
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad that you overcame that, and embraced that. And I mean, like I meet you just less than a year ago, so I would not have any thought at all about your name. I just thought, oh, cool, Ping Hendra, and would never have thought anything about girl's name. I guess, yeah, I bet Ping Ping probably I would um, hesitated, but I think you did a great job to do a right thing by just saying it's Ping. Then it's cool. Ping
Yeah.
is very cool. Yeah. All right. So there's a that around then, and then you chose that major and became unique, more unique,
Mm.
right? I mean, by doing that, you became unique. Did you really love it, or did you just do it out of curiosity, or did you embrace it, or what's the story after that?
Now I just embrace it. And also because now what I'm doing is I help people to network better. And the word ping in that world, it means I am connecting one another.
Yeah.
Ping. Yeah. So I was like, it clicks. Oh, wow. Maybe my dad is have that thought in the in the past. I don't know, right? Yeah, no, I just embrace the name.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
also the uniqueness. I was asking you about your major. So you did it because it's different, it's an opportunity, right? So you got
Yep.
the degree, and then did you work with it? Did you love it, or did you like, oh, this is not what I really like?
So the good thing about the major is that it is half computer science and half business.
Right.
So it teaches you how to code. It teaches you also how to design systems
Mm-hmm.
and how to design because in the tech world it's more about your the algorithms and
Yeah.
also from like processes and systems like, oh, this goes here, this goes here, this goes there, the
Mhm.
thinking process. And that is what I learned the most out of it. In terms of me actually using and sit down and code,
Mhm.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
My
I
butt can't stay
understand.
still.
Yeah, I understand completely. I mean, in a
Yeah.
way, I'm like that too because I studied business, but I don't remember the theories, the thing like that in
Mm, mm,
But what I gather is that when you go to university, it's more about um, like training your brain, training your thinking in a certain way. I think I'm sure coding, there's certain organization, certain things that you have to put together that makes you think faster, right?
mm.
So that what you took, and then if you become something else or a organizer or a manager, you have this competence about
Right.
analytical thinking or sequential thinking that helped you in other things.
Mm.
Yeah. So sometimes we think, wow, we pay a lot of money just to get that one competence because you don't really,
Yeah.
yeah, the coding and stuff like that. Yeah. So is that what you did for work or
Not really, because after I'm done with school, I moved back to Medan for 3 months. So I call it like a transit.
mm-hmm.
So and then after that, my dad said, "Hey, you know what? Mandarin is right now. It's like China is going crazy, booming. Why don't you go there and learn Mandarin and see what's up, right?" And
Mm-hmm.
I said, "You know what? No." I was like, why? I said, do you remember? I said, you can ask mom back in the days when you asked me to study Mandarin. I hated it. I even paid my driver to take me to the mall so that I can hang out in the mall for 2 hours and then go back home. It's how much I hated Mandarin growing up.
Yeah.
Uh, Even though I am Chinese, I hated the language because it's so hard.
Mm.
If you it is a memorization language. If
Mm-hmm.
you have never seen it, if you have never memorized it, you wouldn't know how to read it, let alone knows the meaning,
Mm-hmm.
right? So of course I took that and I hated it and I said no. After a while, I started to, for some reason, this, Chinese keeps coming to my world. And to the point where I saw this ad, it's on Shanghai Expo
Mm-hmm.
2010. And I will look at it, I was like, wow, it's a world expo. Everybody should be here, must be fun. I told my dad, okay, I'm just gonna go for a year and we'll see what happens. Then my dad's like, okay, when is the registration date? So I look at it, the registration date is already over. 2 days over since I said yes, it's already over, the registration day. So I was like, oh crap, what should I do? So I went to the website and I research and run, and I saw this email, and I go to the email. Sent a I sent an email and I sent a video message saying I really want to study here, la 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 la, but I cannot register. I don't know why I cannot register. Maybe my computer didn't work. I mean, your link doesn't work or something. I keep on clicking the link, but it doesn't work. So I send you an email right now. I hope you accept. I know the registration is already over. I hope you accept it.
Wow.
So I did that, and
Persistence.
yeah, they respond like, okay. I'm like, cool. So I flew in after Chinese New Year. I still remember, after Chinese New Year, I flew into to China, not knowing anything, doesn't expect anything. And the first day I arrived in China, I got cheated already. So and then my dad is like, this is a lesson in life. Welcome to China.
How did you get cheated?
So basically, there is this SIM card you need to insert. I mean, phone number, right? The SIM card. The guy said, "Oh, it's 50 Chinese renminbi inside, but then it will be like there'll be a rollover balance of 100 renminbi within the next 2 weeks, twice. So 1 week another 100, 1 week another 100. So in total you get 250. I was like, oh, okay. Are you sure? It's like, yeah, it's that is how it is, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, how much is it? And he said 150. But you get 50 first, okay? And then the next week you get another 100, and then the next week you get another 100. I was like, oh, good deal. Apparently that's not the case. You only get 100 if you charge. I think if you put in 200, if I'm not mistaken, you get 100. And then if you put in another 200, you get another 100 within the next 2 weeks. So I didn't know. I got cheated because I cannot read the words. I cannot read the Mandarin. I was like, okay. And then I got cheated. So my dad was laughing. My dad was like, yeah, welcome to China. You cannot outsmart them. That's what the first day I arrived, I got cheated. That's how amazing it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then but then what changed for you, or did you like it, or you stayed for what, 4 years or?
I stayed for 4 years. So the first a year and a half, 1 year and 9 months. My first 1 year and 9 months, I was learning Mandarin, and then the next 2.5 years, it was actually working. Okay. So when I studied there, I didn't know when I arrived. I didn't know that Facebook will be blocked, Google will be blocked, YouTube will be blocked, Instagram. All those Instagram hasn't launched yet, so all those social media will be blocked. I didn't know. However, before I arrive, I do a quick search on my Facebook, and I know this one person is a lady friend, and she is my bully in high school.
So she bullied you in high school?
Yes, she's hella tall, and I was hella short. So she bullied me verbally and bullied me emotionally. She's my bully in high school, and I reached out to her. Hey, I'm going to Shanghai, about to live in Shanghai. I would like to get your number so that when I'm there, you can show me around. And she's like, oh, wow, I didn't know. I mean, like, wow, what makes you come to Shanghai? Okay, sure, this is my number. Let's catch up again. So when I arrived in Shanghai, after 2 weeks, I reached out to her and I said, okay, I'm here. Let's meet. And then it turns out she is a super connector. She knows so many friends. She knows so many people. She is like very international, and I'm very well connected in Shanghai. So I was lucky to reach out to her. And then I learned all these social skills that I don't have, that I don't possess, because I was a very shy, reserved boy.
And how did you learn that? What do you mean by you learning social skills? Oh, so let me see. Oh, no, I
I
lost
think,
you. I
yeah,
lost.
I think the internet went dead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's continue.
I learned everything from her. I learned how to meet people, how to speak to strangers, how to follow up with strangers, how to have fun with people. I learned all those through her.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
turnaround. Hey,
Yes.
out
And
of
we become
all
close friends after since. Now we are like close friends. She is from Bali basically,
oh really?
and we've become close friends ever since now.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, don't tell me the name. I might know the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so did you do the same work that you studied, or did you it was completely different?
Completely different. My job, it's funny that when I
Was it because you couldn't find a job that like your what you studied, or you just want to find a job?
because back then I just want to find a job.
Hmm.
So after 2 years, this the Chinese government gives 1 month grace period. So what does that mean? It means for you to pack your bag and go home. Basically, give you 30 days to pack your bag and go home. However, um, I want to stay in Shanghai. I want to work,
Hmm.
right? Sorry, I want to stay in Shanghai, and working is an excuse for me to continue staying in Shanghai, because if otherwise I have to go back home, right? And I don't want to go back home. So I gave myself a 1 month head start. So 1 month before my
You're supposed to.
course ends, I go for it. I start to find a job. I send resumes after resumes, CVs after CVs. At first I was like, I have an international experience. I graduated from US. I have work experience. I interned in US. I could probably get a job. Easy, right? First 1 month, nothing. No callbacks, no email reply saying, "Oh, I received your CV, thank you." Never. Zero, nothing. To the point where I was like, maybe it's my email is wrong.
Hmm.
Something is wrong with my email. So I changed to a Hotmail. I create a Hotmail account just for the CV,
Mm-hmm.
and still nothing.
Hmm.
So it was about 3 weeks before I have to go back. On a random, I still remember, on a random Wednesday night, I was about to go out and buy food, right? So I was walking out, and then on this, someone called me, "Hey, Ping, what are you doing here?" So I was like, "Wait, someone called my name." So I look around, and right across the street is the my very first classmate when I was in Shanghai,
Mm-hmm.
a very short Indonesian lady, really, really short. So I couldn't. I was like, "Oh, wow, hi, nice to see you. What are you doing here?" And then she's like, "I'm working here. What about you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm still looking for a job at the moment."
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped talking. Normal people will be like, "If you know anyone would like to have a job, please give me a call." But I didn't. I just kept quiet. Again, the backstory is because I was a little bit shy, and a bit introverted. I might learn something from my friends to be like outgoing and stuff, but that is outgoing as a friend. That's about it,
Mm.
right? So I just kept quiet, and then she's like, "Okay, why don't you send me you give me your phone number and you send me your resume. I'll forward to my friends and we'll see what's up." I said, "Okay." Um, what is your number? So she gave me her number. Of course, when pro tip, when someone gave you a number, don't just say, okay, thank you, bye bye. No, actually call this person immediately. See if it's a wrong number, fake number, or something. I did that, and then it rings, and I was like, okay, good. I will contact you. So after that, I didn't go and buy food. I immediately, for some reason, I said I have to give her a CV. I immediately ran home,
Mm-hmm.
ran, go up to the sixth floor, go to my house, and open my computer and bam, send a CV. And then I sent her a text message. I said, hey, I just sent you my resume. Please have a look. Thank you so much. It was great meeting you. And about 2 weeks later, I get a call from a company.
Yeah.
And then this company was like, hey, I received your resume. It was great. I would like to meet you for an interview next week, like maybe Tuesday or something. I'm like, okay, sure. I said that, right? And then on 2 days later, on Thursday, on Friday, my mom gave me a call and said, Ping, you have to go back to Medan immediately. I was like, why? Grandma passed away. I was
Mm.
like, oh crap. Okay. So if I go back, then
Okay.
that's it. I cannot go back anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I was like, okay, but if I have to go back, I have to go back, right? So I find the flight, and for some reason, the only flight available is Saturday at 23:50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I sent a message to the company. I said, thank you so much, but apparently I cannot get the interview because I have to go back because of my grandma passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we can have an interview on Saturday, that'd be perfect because my flight leaves on Saturday midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the guy said, okay, let's meet 10 a.m. Come to my office. So I came in. It was winter. I came in and I was wearing a suit and stuff. And the guy was wearing like basketball shirt, the HR guy. And I was like, wait, what's going on, right? And then we started talking and stuff. And then after that, do you have any questions for me? And I said, yes, I have a question. You said you received my CV. I would like to know who is it that you received it from, or where do you get it from? Because I thought that it might be from all the spam messages that I sent. And the person said, "Oh, you were internally referred." I was like, "By who?" And then the guy was like, "Wait, you don't know who referred you?" I was like, "I just want to make sure it's her or him." and and the person gave me the number, gave me the name, and I've never heard the name in my life. I've never heard of that name. I'm like, who is this lady? I never heard of her name. But I was like, okay, thank you. And then I searched on LinkedIn and I found her. And
Mm-hmm.
I sent her a message and I said, thank you so much. You sent me, you referred my CV, and I just had an interview with him, with your HR, and it was great. I think it was great. And he sent me this letter saying that please come back for like a second round interview or something, so that I can bring that to immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then my the person replied, say, oh, thank you, it's okay, I am like, I'm so glad that it got accepted and stuff. And I said, can I ask you a question? How did you get my CV? And she said, it's from that lady that I
Wow.
met on the street.
Yeah. Wow.
So
There's so many amazing turns.
yes, so that's how it is. And from that on, and you know what is my job? The funny thing is, I was a shy and reserved kid, and my job is I have to cold call every single day. That is my job.
Yeah. Well, what would you take of that? Uh, like, the turns, the opportunities, like life, where life took you. Does that something that you think about, how, why these things happen, or is there a system or something behind that?
I think this just comes to me, and I just got goosebumps from your question. I still remember um, when I was job hunting at that time in Shanghai. I always imagine like, oh, one day I will live, I will work in this place where it's high floors, and I will be sitting in an office that is overlooking a park and the highway or something, because Shanghai is like crazy, and it'll be a tall, and I'll be wearing suit every day, and that's what happened.
See, Ping, I believe like if you have a desire, like a strong desire, and it's just pure, not because of this, it's like, oh, I have a longing, like for that, just because I want it, right? Often that happens,
Mm.
So that is kind of like what I'm hearing from you. It's kind of like recorded somewhere, and then they make it happen for you. Then you have to meet this person. You have to be in this, like this place right at this moment. They give you some thoughts. Oh, I have to get out and get some food.
Mhm,
Sometimes we
mhm.
don't think about it, but if you miss that moment, either you left earlier or you said, oh well, I don't really want to, it's raining or whatever, you would have missed that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I find it so beautiful, like to be able to do, to 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 be sensitive, that if you kind of like get a message or an inkling, even if you don't understand it, follow it. I think that is a lot more powerful than the one that you think, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that, right?
right.
Because like even your hunger, or you just desire, I have to go and get some food right now, and not like a few minutes later. And I think I experienced that so many times. So sometimes I said, oh, maybe I'll just wait for another 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but that wait actually brought me to this see the person. And if
Mm.
I had gone just like like for whatever reason, so all those things that kind of like we have a thought, somebody put that thought in our mind, and then we change this, and then somehow that determines the course of our life.
Mm. I agree completely. Even when I met my wife, it's guided in a way, or it's like coincidence.
Well, there is no coincidence, but there's a sense of the guided, like how could
Yes.
I be there right at that moment, or that person put it together, something like that, right?
Hmm.
Uh,
I mean, even when I met her, it's coincidental to the extreme level.
mhm.
Um, so basically, I just got accepted on a job, and it's with the direct competitor of my first company, the company that hired me, right? So I already left the company, and then about 9 months later, I was headhunted slash referred from internally to this company, and this company is the copycat of that company. The
Mm,
company that I was working at is the best in the world and the first company to ever do it in the world.
mm,
Okay, and this company is a copycat based in China, and it's the best in China, not even close, because
mm.
they are so focused on one country, whereas the previous company that I worked at is focused on global.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm, mm,
so I accepted on the job. So I still have some relationship with a couple of my colleagues, and I am especially close with my supervisor, ex-supervisor at least. So I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm accepting a job at this company." It's like, I'm like, yeah. So let's not get that, let's not become enemies or something. Let's just remain close friends. And it's like, okay, I want to invite you for a dinner with my wife, and then we will eat like because he is from Xinjiang,
mhm.
so we will eat Xinjiang food. I'm like, perfect, let's go. Okay, and then after I said that, then I reached out to my friend. There's this Indonesian lady. I'm also quite close to her in the company, and I said, hey, can we meet for lunch? I will because I accepted a job at a competitor and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, when we meet for lunch, she said, hey, you know what, Ping? I want to invite you to a social event that I have. I was like, what is the social event? It's where, we Saturday is a Valentine's Day. Sorry, Friday is a Valentine's Day. February 14th is a Valentine's Day. So on February 15th, which is on a Saturday, we are going to have like a gathering where the guys can go there and bring flower, and then we also have some ladies friends as well, and then after the dinner you can choose to give the flower or the give the chocolate or whatever to whichever girl that is. Both all are Indonesian. I was like, okay, when is it again? He's like, February 15th. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. It's like, why? Because I already have a dinner with my supervisor for dinner,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, oh man, you're gonna miss it. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot do that because I already have a prior engagement. So I have a dinner with my supervisor, and once I'm done having dinner, I go back home. It was about 8 to 9 p.m. And my friend keep texting me like, Ping, you gotta come, you gotta come, you gotta come. I'm like, why? I have a strong feeling there's this one girl that is your type. I was like, dude, you barely know me. How do you know my type, right? You knew me for like half a year or 1 year, and you already know my type. And it's like, I don't know. I have a strong feeling. I was like, but I'm tired. I don't feel like going. Whatever. When I'm home after I'm done with shower, I'll see if I can come. I'll come. So I go back home. I took a shower, and for some reason, I feel like I'm inclined to go. So I asked her, what do you guys do after dinner? Because it's already 9. And she said, we will going to have a karaoke session. I was like, okay, so I'll meet you at the karaoke place, or I'm going to meet you at the restaurant. And she said, like, just meet at the restaurant first because we haven't do the flower exchange thingy. It was going to take a while. I'm like, okay. So I took a taxi to that place. When I took the taxi to that place, the thing is just finished. Okay. And I met a friend that I haven't met for a long time. Not her, but the other friend is a guy friend. I'm like, oh, how are you? Long time no see. We started talking and I ignored everybody. And then in the taxi, it was my friend, uh, the colleague that invited me, my friend, her, and another person,
Uh-huh.
4 in a car. So we started talking, and then my birthday is on February 16th.
Okay.
Okay, so the whole dinner thing was February 15th.
Right.
So on midnight, my ex colleague put a happy birthday song.
Uh-huh.
And the very first person to say happy birthday to me was my wife.
Uh-huh.
I've never known her, I've never met her or anything. She's like, happy birthday. I was like, oh, thank you. What's your number?
So that was the first time you saw her also, or
Yes. That was the first time I saw her, and then of course I asked her out. I got rejected 3 times. The fourth time is the charm, and then that's it. And now we're married with kids.
wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of guided in a way because it's a if I skip that
Yeah.
event, if I was just like, oh, I just want to sleep and then that's it, I will probably be somewhere else. I like a completely different life, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, like I'm just so happy that you took that and allow yourself to be guided, because I think I do believe that we're downloaded in guidance all the
mm,
time,
mm,
but we only take like one or two that like we kind of process through, or sometimes, and but the ones that turn out the best is often that we don't I don't know why I'm doing this, but somehow I just feel like I have to, and
mm,
so that's that thing, and I want to share you a little story about my house now. So I've been dreaming or longing for a house that overlooks to the west or the east, that I can see the sunset or sunrise, right? So I've been longing, but I didn't take action, Ping. So
mm,
finally, like I thought, oh, it's kind of like difficult to find a house like that. I probably can afford it, and this and that. And then so that one day when I was just coming back on this road, and I saw like, wow, this sky is so beautiful. I really want to have a house that I can see that like daily, not not having to go somewhere or drive. And then I saw a friend, and then it's when I asked my friend who lived there. I mean, she was just taking a stroll. So I said, hey, Lan, do you know anyone who has a place for rent in this area, because now this is COVID time. So I thought, well, maybe there are more, or maybe there's a little bit cheaper or something like that. And the next day, she let me know. She told me, there's a place like right behind my house, and da, 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 da. And my friend used to stay there, and she left, but she's asking me, could you find somebody else? Because I feel bad for the landowner. So I went the next day to check it, but at that moment I couldn't get hold of the landowner. So I looked at around a few others, and nothing happened. And finally, I went back to that first house and met the owner. It just went boom, 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 boom. Like there was no bargaining. Like he gave me the normal price. I said, well, this is what I can afford, and that's it. And I
Mm,
and it went so fast. So I really believe that, like if you have that longing, allow yourself to want it without going into the mind and thinking, well, I should or shouldn't I, this is not right, and that. Just allow it and be like a child, you know like when a child wants something, they just want it. They don't think, oh, this is good for me, this is not good, or makes me feel better, or there. They just want. And when you can be in that innocence, then and just trust, and things just happen very quickly. But you have to take action,
mm.
right? Often we don't take the action.
What I believe is that sometimes your head will tell you, "Oh, don't do that. It's dangerous. Don't do that. It's scary." Or something. Maybe like a career change, or maybe moving to a new place, or moving out of your country to somewhere else. Your mind is telling you, "Don't do that. All your stuff
It's
are
so
here."
sensible, right? It wants to be
Yeah.
sensible, logical,
Yes.
sensible. It has to make sense. There are so many considerations.
That's why
Yeah,
I believe in my gut,
yeah,
because my gut is almost always right.
right. Yeah.
Sometimes, more
But
often than not,
I
your
think
gut is out there to protect you, while your head is out there to steer you to the comfort zone as much as possible.
yeah, to go to where it's known,
Mm,
right? Well, the gut is always like trying to stretch you, and try it. You can do more, because when you go with your guts, you go out of your comfort zone, then you grow. You're
yeah.
able to do more than what you were able before, right?
Mm.
So how is your life, um like where are your parents' influence in this? I mean, and how are you different from your parents or your family with all this?
My family has been very I would say my mom is more like outgoing and okay, you want to try, you want to try, let's do, go ahead. My dad is more rigid. It's either my way or my way. That type of person, and very strong, of course, because he starts the family business from scratch, and he raised four boys, and everybody study overseas and come back, and of course it's a major accomplishment.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't take anything for granted, and I always thank him for it. It's just that sometimes I don't agree with how he do things or how he say things.
Hmm.
He tends to exaggerate quite a bit, to the point where I know, but sometimes when he wants to say something really, really serious, I thought that he is exaggerating. To that, to
Again,
that.
say it again. I don't quite get it.
So he is exaggerating. For example, let's say he's like, "Dude, I pick up the phone. I've been trying to call you for like 10 times, but you still don't pick up the phone, right?" So I asked him like, "Yeah, yeah, what's up? What's going on?" And he's just asking me something trivial, that if I give you the answer like 2 days later, it still wouldn't have any effect, right? But he is that kind of person where it's like, "Oh, I have to do it right now. I have to do it right now." That kind of person. And
Mm.
when he said that, I've called you for 10 times. When I look at my WhatsApp, sorry, my call log is only like 2 times or 1 time. That kind of exaggeration, to that level, to the extreme.
Yeah.
And because that's how he is, he's like action, 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 right? Where I am more observational. I look at things and I observe a little bit, and then I will then give my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I always tell people this, um, and I said it to him in his face before, but I don't think he gets it. I said this. I said, "Don't be an asshole." So what is that? What is an asshole? I said an asshole is someone where you ask me for my opinion, but you attack my opinion, right? So if you ask me for my opinion and if you don't accept my opinion, yeah, okay, just leave it as that, you know. But if you ask me for an opinion, if I give you something and you attack my opinion, you are an asshole, basically.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I know some people like that. So
Mm.
now it's like it makes sense that term asking, but then they undermine it, they attacked it, they disrespect it, right? Kind of,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, so he is that kind of person to the point where, like I said, his way or his way, and oftentimes he asks us to do something without asking for our opinion or our feeling, things like that. So I had a big disagreement with him over something at work, the
Uh-huh.
family business, and he is the type where um, if whatever that is in his head, he needs to say it out.
Mm.
He's not the type to like, okay, think and reflect. He is not that kind of people. So every single time, you know, after, because I lived with him, even though I'm married, I still live with him. It's
Mhm.
very common in Indonesian culture. So when I even sometimes at night, he's like, hey, come to my room, I want to discuss something. And we end up just discussing something that even if you discuss tomorrow, it wouldn't make any difference because the factory is closed. There's nothing you need to do, no actions you need to take, and it's just in your head until you discuss with whoever that is operating the machine. Then we know what's up.
Yeah.
But he is the type where I have to say it out loud right now, right now, right now. And
Yeah.
he always say about back in the days, if I were just like you, if I'm like, oh, it's okay, everything is, I can think of it tomorrow, I don't care about it. You guys will probably not be overseas or things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Tough dad, right?
yeah.
So I had a big disagreement at the company where he insult. I don't want to say insult, but he gave me like a very strong comment when he asked me to do some. He asked me like, we are in a woodworking business. He asked me, hey, what is the yield of a diameter of 8 inches to how many square meter we can get from that yield? And I cannot answer his question at that time. I said, wait, hold on. So I grabbed my phone
Mm-hmm.
and go to the calculator app. And he's like, you study all the way to the US and yet you can't understand this simple calculation. You can't even count it on top of your head. Wow. Uh, it's such a disappointment. I'm so disappointed in you. But he said it in a very bad way,
In a bad tone. I mean,
in a bad tone, and the word is not disappointed, but more like rough.
uh-huh.
It's in Hokkien, the language that we spoke, and it's very degrading
Uh-huh.
to the point where I got so pissed, and it's like a mountain already, like about to burst. It's like a volcano about to burst already, and I've been building this thing
Building
over
up.
and over and over again. And then when the meeting is over, I just told my dad, you know what? Find someone else to replace me. I quit. To his face, in front of my younger brother who's sitting there. My younger brother was like, "Oh wow!"
Mm.
And that's the first time ever in my life that probably I said something quite, I don't want to say nasty, but I think it make him disappointed in me, or I don't know. So he asked me like, you know, um, I'm not going to give you any more salary, because that is how I think most people will threaten you. I'm not going to give you any money. And
Mm.
I said this, and I said, it's okay. I don't need your money anyway. I can find on my own.
Mm.
And when I said that, I guess it either hurts his feeling or makes him a little bit disappointed, or he think, oh, this kid is like not the like obedient kid or
Yeah.
whatever. So that makes him like I can see the expression in his face is like sad and down, And
Uh,
the moment I said that, I was like, I kept quiet and I was like, okay, I just leave the room.
mm,
And my brother came to my room and said, dude, you shouldn't say that to dad. And I said, I know, but someone has to say it. And
mm,
if I don't say it, I will regret it for the rest of my life.
mm,
I would much rather I say it and he hate me for it, but our relationship got better, father and son,
mm,
rather than I kept it
yeah.
and I resent meeting him and I resent talking to him. What's the point?
Mm,
Okay, so when that happened, that's when I start to look at things differently. And
mm.
at that time, my son just got born, so a month and a half. So when I reached home, I told my wife, that, "Hey, by the way, I quit." My wife was like, "What the hell? How are you going to afford all these expenses and stuff?" I was like, "I calculated already earlier, like from the bank statements and stuff, we can survive for up to 6 months. Within 6 months, if I don't get any money in, then you can kick me out, you can divorce me, whatever, because I'm a dumbass." And she's like, okay. She kept quiet, and then the next day she said, you know what, as much as I'm afraid of this situation we're in, I support you 100% and I will support you and I believe you can do it. And that is the motivation I need. And it's like perfect, I just go for it.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Um and on the 31st of December, my friend sent me this journal, and the journal stated, what is your dream goal? And I write down there, move to Bali with my family by December 2019.
mhm.
I didn't know why I wrote Bali. I didn't know why I wrote December. I
You
just
did
wrote
not.
and I believe.
You don't have any idea why you said that. So you have
I
never been to Bali, or you had a
I,
love.
I've been I've been to Bali, and I always told my wife back then, I was like, oh, living in Bali would be cool, yeah. Living in Bali would be nice. But that was from the mentality of and viewpoint of a tourist,
Uh-huh.
right? So I don't know how it is living there, how is the situation, things
Uh-huh.
like that. I
It
didn't know.
almost sounded like, you're at an impasse in your life. You just quit. So, and you have no idea what you're going to do, because that
Mm,
was quite a sudden decision. It's not something that you planned, right?
yeah,
And then something just like, okay, well, it's kind of like, okay, I'm just going to throw it
yeah.
in the sky.
Like pull the plug and just
Yeah,
go.
be as wild as, like, I mean, as free, like, dream something that, even if it sounds uh improbable or something like that, it's just like
Yes.
kind of give you that freedom. It freed you to want something that's totally off the wall, and
Mm,
from that perspective and that time. And
yeah.
yeah, yeah, you did it, right? You moved here, and do you feel happy here, happier here
Yes.
in Bali? Yeah.
Much happier. And it's funny that I moved to Bali in this end of November, and then on December, my wife and my son joined me, and then 3 months later, this weird situation happened,
Right.
right? And my wife and I always said, if we were to be stuck in Medan
Mm-hmm.
during this situation, I think both of us going to go crazy.
Because you would still be living with your parents and
That yes, and also the living. Um,
situation.
have you ever felt this? Have you ever felt that you were born in one place, you live in one place, but you don't feel like you belong?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am exactly that. So I don't
So
see
you
myself
always
in
had that.
Medan.
So you always had that feeling for a long
Yes,
time that you don't
yes,
really belong there. Uh-huh.
yeah, and people were like, oh, some of my friends will say, it's because you studied abroad way too long. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the case.
It's just like
I
something very deeply, the feeling inside, like you never
Yes.
ever since you were little. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I go back to Medan, it's just for me to like, okay, say hi to my friends and say hi to my parents, and that's it. I don't see like myself, okay, I want to stay here for long, that kind of stuff. So weird. I don't know why, but that is how it is.
Yeah. And Bali makes you feel like you belong, or
Bali makes me feel at peace. in a way, like oh wow, this is a good place. And it's funny that I achieved a lot of stuff in 2020.
Mm.
A lot of people said that in 2020, some people might have like weird career trajectory. Maybe things are not doing well, or because of the situation, people have to pivot from being very, for example, like very wealthy to maybe like not as wealthy, things like that. But for me, 2020 is a day, or is a year of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
I get to meet so many amazing people. I joined some organizations where I feel at home,
Mm-hmm.
and I achieved so many things. I got invited to speak at some events, and I just invited to to work together with certain people, and it's just amazing for me. And also with my wife, because the environment, the place that we live in, there are a lot of kids of the
Mm-hmm.
same age as my son.
Mm-hmm.
So their parents are also of the same age, similar age. So
Yeah.
they get together and have like their own mama community. So
Yeah.
it gives her a little bit of security as well,
Uh-huh.
because especially right now we cannot go out.
Right.
It's pandemic, we cannot go out, right? And if she don't have that friends as support system, they'll be crazy, because she's from Jakarta and she has to go back to Medan to live with me in Medan, right? So she
Okay.
has not many friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the culture is different, the language we spoke is different, things like that. So now she is in Bali, and with all these super moms, as they call themselves, it was great. I mean, she felt much happier. My son has play date friends. They play together, and I met some incredible people, and I'm always like at night learning. um, it was good. I learned a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad that I make a decision together with my wife, and we've been living here since, and it was great. We are approaching a year soon.
I know. It's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it? It's just like how life brought you. But I really admire you in that you're kind of like trust, you know, trust your guts, trust your guidance and the direction, and it takes you to always a better place, or
Mm.
like a place that is the best for you. Okay, so all right, it's been like it takes us all over the place,
Yeah.
and but I'm very happy to get to know you in this way, and I really trust your wisdom. I found you as one of the wiser young people.
Thank you.
Like I think you're in your what how old are you now?
I'm 33.
33. Yes, and there's something about you that I feel like well, you're special, of course, but
Thank you.
there's a wisdom, and there's the what I really admire from you is the generosity of spirit. You're quite relaxed, with you're comfortable with yourself. I mean, I know it took a while for you to get there, but now you're there, and I sense there's this generosity, wanting to help people. Like very generous with your knowledge and sharing, and you're not worried about competition or anything that that you hold back. So I really admire that, and I'm very happy to have met you. So one last thing before we wrap it up. Like I mean, I'm much older than you, right? I mean, I could be your mother, technically, and I probably would, like yeah, I lost one child who's a little bit older than you, would have been. And how would you see yourself as what wisdom have you reaped up to this point, and then how would you see yourself as a parent, as a what you would imagine as a wise parent in about 20 years from now?
I think the best would be to support my son in anything that he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do not say it's not possible, no, it's not good. Don't do that. Let him explore, and I will always allow him to explore um, his will, right? And I will just guide him along the way. And if he is not, and I want to make him not be afraid of making mistakes. That is important,
Mm.
because the moment you get him the fear of making mistake, he will not be able to make mistake.
Mhm.
He will not be able to be a great leader, because a great leader makes mistakes. You are a great leader right now because you've made mistakes in the past and you know what mistakes to avoid.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll just be a follower,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you are, because some parents, they want the best for their kids to the point where they set a clear path. It's like a railway,
Mm-hmm.
clear. You just need to follow the rail, and it
Mm-hmm.
will take you to the destination, to the station.
Mm-hmm.
But I want my son to be in a car where you can go left, you can go right, you can take the highway. If you don't want to take the highway, you can just take the other way, or the uncommon path. As long as you get to the destination, even though it's not as long, even though it's not like 20, it's not like 5 years, but it takes like 10 years. It's okay. You experiment along the way
Mm.
and learn. And who knows, you're going to meet people that will be helpful to you, or you're going to meet people that will uh, destroy you in a bit, but you learn.
Yeah, totally
That's what
true.
I think.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is, to me, that is what love is
Mm,
towards children. When you allow them their free will, allow them to explore, allow them to find themselves, and they can only find themselves if they're free to try to follow what calls them. I mean, you're an example of following your guts, and now, like, if you're giving that, that would be a gift, the biggest gift, and I quote God again here, like, God's greatest gift to us is the gift of free will, which
mm,
means, like, He knows that we'll make mistakes. He knows that we'll do bad things, but He would still love us because He already knows that no matter how bad we get, there is something that is designed, like, implanted in us, that will bring us to that goodness, to that core, to that love. Yeah. And one thing that's actually I want to kind of ask from you, like, if you said that it didn't seem like your parents actually allowed you to that kind of freedom, that kind of free will, right? So in a way you had to fight for it,
yes.
right? And it's probably different from your brothers, and like, but it sounds to me that you fought to to preserve that freedom, and then when you're not allowed, move forward with that. So let's say, what would you say to people or to others your age, or a little bit younger, or even a little bit older, who are in that situation when they want to break free, they want to do something, even if they don't know what it is, but they know that it's not what their parents want for them. And I've seen people who caved in, they gave up, right? Because
Mm,
it feels too hard and too difficult to fight against their parents. And, like in your case, you're ready to go for broke, right? With nothing.
mhm.
So, what would you say to those people when they're longing and they're not taking action, or what should they do, in your opinion?
In my opinion, this is from my experience. So I'm just calling it based on myself. Um, Number one would be, think, really, really think what you want to do first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to do something that, I mean, some people want to do things just out of spite. For
Mm.
example, let's say your parents say, just do this, and then you're like, I'm going to show you that I'm not like that. The moment you have that thought, it's not
Yeah,
gonna work, because the
that's
motivation,
on the anger, on anger.
yes, the motivation is anger.
Mm.
And once because at the end of the day, it's family, right? As much as you think you hate, there is no way it will recede. The moment it recedes, the feeling of anger is gone. you lost that sense of motivation. That's what
Mm.
I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless you are like, okay, my motivation is I want to have a better future for my children, or I want to be, this and that. Then it will be different. Of course, everybody wants the best future. I want a better future. We are human. We are selfish. We always want something better.
Mm-hmm.
But to what extent,
Yeah.
right? What is it that you want to do? I attended this seminar by Tony Robbins, and he talks about growth and contribution. Is the best um, is the best gift you can give to humanity. It's growth as contribution. Growth meaning yourself improve and grow, and
Mm-hmm.
contribute meaning you give to people. If you
Yeah.
cannot give money, give your time,
Mm-hmm.
or give your expertise,
Yeah.
give your experience to them, and that is the best work you can give, and that gives you the utmost pleasure in life. And when I listened to that, I was like, wow, that is so true. Focus on yourself
Mm-hmm.
first, your growth. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to become? Who do you want to be with?
Mm.
Some people just want to get married just for the sake of getting married, because they don't want to be pestered by their nephews and nieces and aunties and say, oh, when are you going to get married? Where is your girlfriend? Things like that, right? If you succumb to that pressure, then you're not going to be happily married.
Right.
You're
Right.
just going to get married for the sake of getting married, and that is not good.
To avoid feeling bad about it. Right.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And also, one more thing that I want to share is, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Mm.
You cannot control their brain, you cannot control their mouth, you cannot control their intention, but what you can control is how you receive the information that is said by them,
Uh-huh.
right? It's either you receive it as something good or something bad. And
Yeah.
it's up to you whether to accept or to reject. That is the only thing you can do. Anything else, don't bother,
Yeah. I call that
right?
being responsible thing.
Yes. So it's kind of like a reframing kind of thing. In NLP world, it's called reframing. So when someone said something to you, let's say this is negatively, it's a negative remarks. If you reframe it to like, okay, this is negative, but if I look at from this angle, that is positive, then that is good. But if you think that, okay, this is negative and negative, just throw it away, that
Mm.
is even better. A lot of people just receive everything. For example, this is very simple example. People, for example, people in Indonesia always say, "Oh wow, you've gained weight. You're fatter now." If you are um, if you just accept it literally, you are fat. You will be like hating your body. You will start to eat not right. You will start to eat, like all this healthy food just because you want to get healthy. There's no motivation behind. You want to get healthy. But if you said that, wow, you're healthy, you'll be like, yeah, it's because I'm happily married. That's why I'm now like this, because I'm happy.
Mhm. Is
Then
that
it's deep.
reframing?
That is reframing. Oh yeah, I'm happier. That's why I'm now again a little bit more weight, because I'm happier. I got married to my wife, and she's a good cook.
Mm.
Imagine the ego stroking that you give to your wife in front of her. When you said that, she'll be like, wow, she'll felt so loved,
Yeah.
right? But if you said like, why you so fat, and then you'll be like, yeah, I should exercise, and
Mm.
then in your mind you'll be like, oh wow, this person just said something bad about my body, I don't want to be friend with you or something, and you felt upset, and because of that you destroy your whole mood. What's the point?
Mm.
At least that's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, hearing what you said, I kind of like want to go into like, well, say whatever really feels true to you.
Mm. Yes.
If you say that, oh, I gain fat, I gain weight because I'm happily married. If that's true, then that's good. But if it's not true and you're just saying that, So just to make yourself feel better, or to kind of like hide behind that, that is still, yeah, could be still smarting. Like there's still some hurt, and you kind of like, no, 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 I don't want to be hurt about that. But yeah, I think as long as you can be honest about it, and be true, and I would say, wow, it feels hurt. I mean, that's what I feel. Like acknowledge that my hurt is like that, and allow myself to feel bad about that, and then it's done, rather than trying to not think about it. This is what I learned being older. Like in my 50s now, be very real with what we're feeling. So if we hurt, in the past I would say, well, she probably doesn't know what she's talking about, she's just being mean, and like that. And now I would just cry. If I feel bad, I would just allow myself to feel bad, and miraculously, whenever I allow myself to feel bad, really bad at that moment, and maybe even cry or something, and that would just pass, and then somehow it doesn't bother me anymore.
Mm. And also another thing I want to add is
Yeah,
where you are right now
yeah,
is based on the decision that you've made in the past,
right.
right? And where you want to be, from where you are right now to where you want to be, there is this bridge.
Uh-huh.
And this bridge is called action.
That's true.
So just go towards it. If you can have all these dreams that you have. Oh wow, I want to be this, I want to be that. A lot of people said, oh, a lot of attraction. Just close your eyes and think, and imagine you driving in this nice car, and then you will have it. That is a lot of bull crap.
Yep.
Unless you actually take action towards it, then it will happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. With the fat one, I would say, if I'm really being honest, yes, I got myself fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel fat right now. Okay, I got myself fat. Well, and this is, I'm learning too, that there's some truth in the people's comments. Like so
Mm.
okay, let's take a responsibility with that. But yeah, I totally agree. Action is the key.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you have a thought, whatever you have thinking, you can be sad about it, or you can like, okay, yeah, it upsets me, let me exercise, let me, if I find a way to feel better, because if somebody calls me fat, I don't feel good. What did I do to create that? So
Mm-hmm.
that's part of it. But I like the other reframing, the looking at things from a different way, but as long as it's really really honest with ourselves. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Ping, this had been very interesting, like a very loose conversation, but I think I learned a lot from you, about you, and thank you for sharing. Like for me, it's when I'm hearing stories like this, it's it's the inspiration behind it.
Mm.
Like, I mean, how you overcome the bullying, and because it's, in the end, it's all about you. Like, I mean, going abroad is not going to do it, unless something inside you is taking charge.
Mm.
I don't want to feel like that. I'm going to change something, and you did, right? Getting out of your comfort zone, and then trusting your gut intuition, and all that, which take you to a place that you feel at peace, more at peace.
Yeah.
So, and kudos to you, because you're 33. Wow, what a magic age too. 33 is a transformational, a very magic age, and I congratulate you for being where you are at that age, because I've seen a lot of people even older than you who have not found peace within.
Mm.
Yeah, and me representing the community, especially the community of Toastmasters in Bali, we're so happy to have you with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I felt really happy, and at the same time, because not many people say that to me directly, and you say that to me directly, especially coming from you. I truly truly appreciate you for that, and I couldn't stop smiling, and I'll probably share this to my wife. Oh, she said this later.
Yeah. Well, it's been all my pleasure. And well, we're going to continue to create stories together. All right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to end that. How do I
And
say?
the recording.